Hi, Joe Cerrone.
And Alan Rosen.
Welcome to CAD 116 Basic AutoCAD Spring 2022. All right, so here, this is the D2L course shell, and it stands for Desire to Learn. And basically, it's your online course management tool. What it has in it is information about the class, which we'll put into announcements. And so last night, I prepared a brief announcement. So this is a little bit about myself, your instructor. Push the play button. Hi, Joe Cerrone. Welcome to Basic AutoCAD. And you can kind of go through and kind of see how things are laid out. And that's sort of what we want to do. We want to have videos to support you, but we don't necessarily want to go through and redo what we do in all the videos. And so we're trying to be selective about the content and about the time that it takes to watch it. So that's a little bit about myself and a little bit about the course. You're welcome to watch that. Today is Tuesday, January 18th. We'll be running this meeting from 9 until 10. And we'll have a link in here every week in which we run the meetings. Al has set up the D2L and he puts these announcements in here. We can start off with, just some basic philosophies. We've been, we're certified high school teachers. We've been doing that for quite a while. And so we feel that students are, well, basically, if we're doing our job, then students should be able to understand what we're working with. And so we try to work with you to make the course fun. We try to make it make sense. And if there is something that doesn't work for you, just let us know, email us, and we'll try to explain what's going on. So Al's got these things laid out and color coded. Things that are in blue are reading assignments. And so here's our syllabus. Here's our outline of topics, how to get the software. And then here's a video on how to do the first assignment. This is the B-size title block, Al. I think we wanted to have the plate title block for the first one.
Same difference.
So we'll get that checked out. And then here's the drawing assignments. PDF 1, PDF 2, 3, 4, 5. Class information has been color coded. So things that are blue are a book, green is lab, purple is video, and red is exams and quizzes. We'd like to put the learning objectives in. Chapter 2 learning objectives are basically, well, these are the chapter 1 and the chapter 2. So the chapter 1 objectives are to define computer-aided design, typical applications, explain the value of planning your work. It's kind of an organized, a tool for people who do documents that they want to be able to record. So there are a lot of standards. If you're working in the mechanical or manufacturing field, the standards are typically to work in either imperial units, inches, or in millimeters or metric units. You have drafting standards with line types, line weights, and colors and things like that. So we incorporate those things into the course. And then we have these drawing assignments. And a lot of these are just things that Al and I have developed over the years. We found that starting off with some real basic things like these plate drawings work really well for us. And so we'll start off with these plate drawings and be able to create those drawings. And then to log into the textbook, you can click here. Now, if you bought the paper textbook, then no, you won't be logging into it. And we kind of like the paper textbook. You would need to sign in right here. I'm already signed in. So I've got my book open right here. And here's my AutoCAD book. And if we look at the introduction to AutoCAD in the first chapter, we're basically looking at these objectives that we were just talking about. And rather than go through every single detail in the textbook, we have videos recorded for that. And so we have some online videos where you can watch the video that talks about the chapter. As you go through and you read it, a lot of it's just general information about AutoCAD, being able to model things in 3D, and then you have visual styles like wireframe and conceptual. And then the value of planning your work. I mean, there's a lot of planning that goes into the drafting end of it, because this is the first step in the manufacturing process or the build process. And if the drawings are wrong, then when you make things, they tend to have a lot of problems. And so there's a lot of standards, units of measurements, title blocks, layers, and symbols, but we'll try to incorporate those into the course to make it somewhat make sense. So the textbook readings are given to you in the D2L area. And so if I go back to my D2L screen, and I'm just checking to make sure I don't have anybody in the room. And we look at the outline of topics, and I'm going to turn off my webcam now. It gets to be a bit of a distraction. There we go. And so as we look at the way things are laid out, Al, maybe you can kind of help me with this. Let's start off with the syllabus.
Okay, if you hover and left click on it, please, it should come up with a PDF form. And you'll click on the PDF, and there it is. It goes over basically everything you want to know. CAD 116, of course, AutoCAD, 3 credit hours, lecture, etc. Learning objectives, as we talked about beforehand. This the schools learning objectives we have in there. Academic integrity, code, and whatever else. Hopefully you won't need to do this, but it's basic like everybody else. If you keep on going down, you want to review the code. It's in highlighted in blue, dark blue. It's a PDF form. You click on it. Outline the topic. It says see D2L. Course participation. Of course, completing all your assignments, passing quizzes and finals, and etc. Go on like that. You have the instruction book right there. Now we have a question for everybody. You don't have to go with the new 2020. You can also get the 2019 version. It's a little less money, but yes, it does work from Goodhart Woodcocks. It works fantastic. How we broke it down for percentage is drawings are 50%, tests are 10, final is 40, total is 100, and there's A, B, and C, and D in there. Hopefully we won't have to do that. Because of protocol, you have right there, and if you want to click on it, there's a mandated testing, vaccination statewide. It goes over all that. It has the college information about it for weekly testing if you need to, so it goes over all that.
Right. So COVID has kind of thrown a curve into everything as far as the courses go, but this is kind of our standard outline for CAD 116. If we look at our outline of topics.
Right. In outline topics, basically, we're trying to do it by week to week onto it. You can download it. You can keep it that way, however you want to do it. Word right now on 123, which for some reason.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the date is on that. It should be the 18th. This must be Sunday. Maybe I'm in the wrong section. So let me take another look. This happens every once in a while.
I don't know what it is. It's just something.
We're in OC1, so we'll update this. But it looks like it's not.
I can update it right now. Go on, keep talking, John.
Yeah, don't do it now. I'll wait till after the meeting and take care of it. All right, so essentially we'll go through chapter 1 and chapter 2. We'll look at AutoCAD and its applications, and then we'll do module 1. So let's get started with that. All right, so if we come back here to the main splash page, the way that the class is set up is that we have these different modules. And so Al likes to put a lot of the content in the main splash page. It does make it easier, and so we can get that. As we go through, let's go take these in order. So before I jump ahead, maybe you can talk a little bit about the AutoCAD software, Al?
Yeah, fantastic, great. If you click on it, please. It explains to you how to get to the software and such like that. So if you hover over the top, highlight blue HTTPS on there, left click on it, please. Hopefully it will go to the right AutoCAD. If you go into where it's a sign in, if you don't have it already, hover over to sign in. It's on the top right hand corner. Left click on it. And of course Joe has his email there, but you would have to put your email. Then you click next, and as you click next, It's asking you different questions to go along with it. You will need your ID or some kind of information go along with the school's open college.
Right. You may need to create an account. And if you create an account, the software costs money for people who use it for business. But for students, it's free. And so they want you to verify your identity as a student. And so you'll need to have some kind of a copy of your tuition bill or a transcript. I'll log in here,
Or your B number.
show you what it looks like. All right, so I'm in, Al. Maybe you can direct me to where the software is.
Certainly. If you go down a little bit, please. There's AutoCAD right there. If you hover over it and use the left click on where it says getting started there, and they ask you to keep going and sign in. It verifies you automatically, and there it is. You're authorized right there to get to it. Confirm.
So once they confirm your identity, because I think what was happening with a lot of these softwares was that people were using them in companies, and so they increased the way they check to see if people are students.
Now
Now you can have all of these. You can download any of these softwares, and some of them are really terrific softwares, like Revit, very good parametric modeling software for architecture. Same with Inventor. We're going to use AutoCAD for Windows because that's what we have on the computers. You can download AutoCAD for Mac, but the videos will look different because the interface is different.
hey Joe,
Go ahead.
can we download the AutoCAD regular on a Mac somehow?
Well, that's what I was going to say is that if you're going to use a Mac computer, what you can do is put a Windows partition on it and then use the AutoCAD for Windows and any of the Windows products like Revit, because most of the engineering field, manufacturing field, kind of the private sector field works on Windows more so than Mac. Mac is more of a graphic artist tool or artist tool, desktop publishing. So it does work. It's a very good software, but it looks a little different in the interface. And so what we recommend is you can take it to the Apple Store, right, Al?
Yes, sir.
And they can walk you through. And you usually use the one over in Northbrook, right?
Northbrook is real nice. I'm not saying the other ones are not, but it's less busy over there, and they will take care of you real quick. And what's really nice about doing partition, if you have a Mac, you can download any software like Joe said, and you get the best of both worlds because the graphics on the Mac is fantastic. And as it goes where it says install, and his arrowhead going down, Joe on AutoCAD, left click on it a little bit, and it says download or install. What you want to do is install, not download. The difference is you can save it, whatever else, then you have to bring it back and etc. Now it will ask you different things about what version. You can get and download any of them you want. We suggest 2020, Joe, am I correct? For basic Windows, correct?
Yeah, I recommend 2020. Even though the newer ones are out, they're not always better. A lot of times there's some glitches. I'm using 2021, but 2022 just came out. And so, just like anything else, what are we, 18 days into January 2022?
Yes.
There's typically some glitches. And so we tend to err on the side of caution. But we'll be looking at 2021 today. That's what I have loaded on my system.
Right. And if you click on where it says welcome, please, up there, right there, it says Windows. See Windows there? It says arrowhead next to 2021. Okay, it will show Windows, so you can't mix them up versus Mac and the Windows itself. It is also going to ask you what kind of computer you have, basically year, basically, and etc. like that, and video cards and such. We'll check for all that for you.
All right, thanks, Al. Let's keep it running. So back to the main splash page. That's how to get the software. If you do have any difficulty with it, we are in person 2 weeks from now on Sundays. So 2 weeks is a long time out. But with COVID the way it is, it's a bit difficult. You can always go into the school and work in the computer labs, provided that you pass the entry information. All right, let's keep going, Al.
Okay, you have video, please.
Sure thing.
And on the video is basically all the drawings we have set up for Mod 1. And if you left click in, please.
And so this is on YouTube. We have a YouTube channel.
And if you like to do with words instead, if you click on CC, closed caption, it automatically comes up like that.
That's correct. And so it's kind of nice. You can go through the videos. I'm going to turn off the closed captioning at this point. It always spells my name wrong anyway. But essentially we'll open up the plate title block drawing. And then I'll go through some basic tips and tricks as far as like how to turn on certain aspects of the software, like the menu bar, going through drafting settings, turning on the grid and turning on the snap. And then we'll go through and we'll draw these objects out. Typically what happens is the people that tend to come to the Zoom meetings want more assistance. And that's typically what we do with our Zoom meetings. We'll typically go through and concentrate on questions and answers. We'll highlight the videos and things that we want the students to watch if they need some additional assistance. Again, you don't have to watch the videos. You can just go and create the drawings if you want to read the textbook. But we find that the videos really help, and most of the students prefer being able to watch the videos because you can just see it in real time and back it up and redo it, replay it if you need to. And so these are the videos for the first exercise. And I've already drawn these, so I'm going to pause this and I'm going to switch over to my AutoCAD. So here's my AutoCAD. As you work with these drawings, if you turn the wheel on the mouse, you'll be able to increase and decrease the magnification level. This is the interface with the ribbon, and it's divided into these different tabs like draw, modify, annotation, and layers. And as we go through and we work with these commands, we'll explain how the interface works. And it typically takes a couple of weeks to kind of get used to where everything is located at. We have, it's kind of like Excel where you have these tabs on the bottom and you can then have a clean sheet, because AutoCAD kind of allows you to create like a textbook or a print book where you can have all the parts in an assembly, and then you can then release those for manufacture or for production. And so we're using that same technique where we'll have multi-page layouts. Once you have the drawing completed, you can go to the big red A and you can go to save as, and you can save it. I typically recommend people save it with their initials. I named this JC Lab 1X. I just put the X on it because I make the same drawing over and over again, and I just would like to keep it. And so I'll add another extension to it. I'll save it. And then what you will do is you'll go into the Oakton Assignments tab. Let's view this as a student. And you'll take that assignment and you'll turn that in. And the due dates for the assignments are listed. There it is, February 1st. And so typically we give 2 weeks for when we assign the project to when it's due. So next week we'll assign a new project and it'll be due on the 8th. As we go through and we look at how to turn in an assignment, you go to the assignments tab. A lot of you guys are pretty familiar with this. We've already got somebody turning in the work, and we can go to the module 1 assignments. Here's how you will be graded. Completeness, make sure you complete the title block. Graphically accurate. You want the drawings, the lines to be endpoint to endpoint. And so we want to use grid and snap on these drawings. Or if you're an experienced user, maybe you're going to use the object snap commands. We'll use the proper design rules, things like using layers, line types, proper dimensioning. Some of the drawings don't have dimensioning, so we'll give you credit for it. But as we go on, you'll see dimensioning is going to play a big role. And then proper use of the CAD system. Do you have everything set up properly? Are your viewports set? Is your name on it? Are you creating blocks the proper way? Things that are covered in the content. And then what you'll do is you'll submit your assignment. You add a file. You locate where you put the file. You can upload it. I can say, here's my file I just created. I can open that. I can add it. And then if I want to put a note in here, I can do that. And I can say, Mr. Rosen, or you can call us professor if you want. And you can add a question if you want to. You can do a video or an audio. We haven't had any students starting to do that yet, so maybe we'll start getting those. You hit submit, and then it will tell you that the file has been submitted. Now you can submit more than, you can submit the file over and over again and look at the history of it. Sometimes people will do that. They'll turn in an assignment that's incomplete saying they want some additional assistance, and then you can get the assistance and then upload a newer version with the corrections or with more completion. So that's how you turn in an assignment, and that's how it's going to be graded. We come back here to the main splash page. And then the assignments, they're located here as exercise files. We have a network drive at the school, and so the F drive is the network drive. There's always a little something with some of these curriculums, but again, you know, we save the files. XX, when you see that, is typically your initials, and that way, if we have to go and search for a file, you can search for it by your name. We also have the course laid out under content, and so if we look under content, and then here's the free AutoCAD information. Here's information if you want to VPN. VPN is a virtual private network, and it will allow you to connect to an open computer. And it's nice. I will use that occasionally to be able to go and access my software at the school. But if you download the software, you don't necessarily need to VPN in. It's a little bit slower than it is to go and use your own software. Title blocks, all the title blocks are located right here. You can download the title blocks. And then when we open them, you'll get a clean sheet of what to draw. Back to the content section. Al has a lot of tips and tricks, things like shortcuts. Some of his experience, he'll put in these shortcut tips and tricks. A lot of them are aliases that you can use rather than type in the entire command. You can use these things like L for line, and it just works quicker. C for circle. So when I'm on a drawing, and if I want to draw the line command, I can either choose it from the top bar here, and then I hit escape to release the cursor. Or if I want to, I can type the letter L, and it'll give me all the commands that start with the letter L. And so I can go and select line, and then I'm back to the line command like that, and I can hit escape. The buttons along the bottom allow us to get into more aspects of the CAD system. And so here's my coordinate system. This is called ortho. This is called polar tracking. And these are very good to find out in the textbook. You can hover over them and you can get information about that. Typically, I thought I'd get one there, but I'm not. So I'm going to try the copy command, and it'll go into how to use that command. And so a lot of the books, the way you read them is different now. You can go and access the command, hit the F1 key, and it'll go right into how to use the copy command. All right, back to the main splash page. This is our basic aliases, some additional information there. Here's our title blocks, and then here's our chapter 1 and labs. And so as we look at it, here's what we want you to do: be able to start AutoCAD, use D2L, get familiar with the interface, and then use some basic draw and edit commands. And we'll create these 5 different plates. The last one's a little tougher because you're going to have to use layers and line types. So as we look at the videos and things like that for those, you can pay attention to that. This getting started link is actually the way we used to run the class before D2L. And so Al and I started the online course in 2007. And so here we are, laying out everything for the course. And it's just an older way of doing it. We haven't been updating it because the D2L is now the primary source that we'll use to distribute the information. But there's a lot of good information in these. And so, how to download the software, that's how we used to do it. Information like how to use the mouse, left mouse button, right mouse button, the wheel, selecting objects, just real shortcut, get right down to how to create and draw things. Back to the main page here and chapter 1. And then we have a PowerPoint here. The PowerPoint will go through the chapter. And so if I download that, I typically download them. The interface will translate into D2L to be able to read it, but it's faster to download. Usually, I just have to wait for my PowerPoint. And so the PowerPoint will basically go through the objectives within the chapter. And we'll add some things in there, to show you, like I'll highlight, turn on the menu bar. I do like to do that. Use the customization from the flyout to be able to turn on things like grid and settings. So if I were in here in my CAD system and I go to my customization bar, I can make sure that everything is turned on. I could turn on my dynamic input. I can turn on all of these other aspects for it. And then these will show up here down on the bottom. All right, so that's the PowerPoints for the first area. We have these things called dynamic inputs, command options, but essentially it's just a drawing assignment. When we get down to what we're going to do, we're basically going to create drawings. Here's an interface lecture. And so if you click on here, I've made a video on how to navigate or what are we looking at when we work with D2L. And then if we go back, then we go to our assignments. And so we have the first drawing assignment. And I'll just cut to the last one and the last drawing assignment. And then back to the labs. And Al, you've got these set up so that they're all on right now. Is that how we're rolling them out?
No, they're not. If you just highlight it again and click on one more time.
Okay, great. So you put the due date. Well, actually, let me undo that as a student. Actually, if we view it as a student, it's better, right?
Yes, sir.
So if we look at what you have available, you can see that chapter 1 is on. We can turn off the midterm and the final exam, Al.
Right.
But that's typical.
For some reason it's off, but it's not coming up like it's supposed to be. So let me check one more time.
Right. All right. So that's basically our rundown on the course. I'm going to stop the video. If there's anything else that I need to include in the video, Al?
No, just to make sure they understand that the content basically is the meat and potatoes basically of our system. So if you don't have everything you want to see right off the hand, then go to content and it'll be fine right there.
Right. So we put everything in Al tries to put everything in the splash page, but the content area has a little bit more content. So we'll put the basics in the content, or we put everything in the content. And then we have the basic general flow of the course in our weekly announcements. And then here's where our due dates are. And that's basically it. I don't think there's a need to make this recording go much longer. So with that, I'm going to stop this recording and then we will open things up for questions. We'll be online again next week, Tuesday at 9 a.m. to go through our next module. All right. So this ends our recording and I'm going to open things up for questions to the class.